Alter Echo is a third-person action-adventure game from THQ and Outrage. The game's perhaps best described as a really combo-driven third-person action game. It shares a lot of the same style of play as Capcom's Devil May Cry, in that it will reward you for executing really long, stylish combos. While the game's combat makes up for most of its deficiencies, it does have a few small problems. Alter Echo puts you in the role of Nevin, who's a shaper, who's basically a psychically endowed individual who can shape things out of a substance called plast. Things like spaceships and weapons are made out of plast in the future. It's pretty much the most important substance in the universe. The game opens with Nevin on a three-man spaceship on its way to the planet where plast is invented and made. Basically, the master shaper named Pavo was sent there 3 years ago, and a company faked his death so he could research new ways to improve upon plast. It turns out that he's done it, inventing a new substance called ecoplast, which is far more powerful than regular plast. So Pavo's become a pretty evil individual, bent on ruling the world with his new form of plast that can be used to create all kinds of monsters and crazy stuff. Pavo crashes your ship, sending it plummeting to the surface of the planet, and it's up to you, as Nevin, to get a hold of Pavo, beat the crap out of him, rescue your two crewmates, and basically get off the planet and save the whole human race. The main gameplay mechanic in Alter Echo is that your suit basically has three different forms. You start out with the default form, which is just you with a sword wearing this kind of suit thing. And you eventually earn two other forms. The gun form is a large armored shell holding a pretty hefty weapon that you can use to fight from a distance. The final form is the most versatile of the three forms, and it's called the stealth form. In the stealth form, you're down on all fours crawling around, and you have a prehensile tongue that you can use to pick up power-ups from far away, or you can use it to grab enemies and drag them near you and flip them up into the air. You can also pounce on enemies' heads in this form and kind of claw away at their eyes, which is a really cool attack that opens up some interesting combo possibilities. Using the three forms correctly is perhaps the most important thing about the combat in Alter Echo. Basically, the combo potential is opened up even further because as you do these long combos, you're earning basically the game's form of currency. And every few levels, you're given the opportunity to purchase upgrades using the points that you've earned. These upgrades can range from upgrading the damage that your sword does to making it so you can withstand more damage before dying. And then there's also a lot of new combo attacks as well. Alter Echo moves you through its environments pretty quickly. Most of the levels are actually pretty short. You just kind of encounter a few guys. Maybe you'll make your way through a puzzle really quickly. But you'll find that most segments of the game only last 5 to 7 minutes. But the game does have a lot of segments, so you can probably get through the game in maybe around 6 hours, 7 hours, but it actually feels a whole lot longer than that. The game's plot also does the somewhat annoying thing of putting you up against the boss character before the final boss fight. So there are a couple situations where you think, well, this is going to be the end of the game. I've wrapped up all these plot points. This is looking like this is all. But then, of course, you win that battle, and Pavo escapes to fight another day, and you're left with a whole new side objective that you never would have dreamed of before the fight. So while the game may be short, the game's combat actually really does make up for a whole lot of this stuff. I really can't say enough for the game's combat and just the way the sword attacks flow into the stealth mode attacks, flow into the gun attacks. There's one cool move you can do from a pounce hold. You can flip into the gun form, and actually you'll have the enemy kind of stuck to the barrel of your gun. You can just shoot them off it, and that's pretty cool. There's a lot of little cool things like that, and the game's animated very well, so all these combos actually do look really nice. The rest of the game's graphics are competent. It's the environments look a little shiny, but when you consider that everything in the universe is supposed to be made from this ecoplast, it at least kind of provides a cohesive look for the game. The environments are nice and large, though they do occasionally get a little bit repetitive. In fact, you'll actually do a little bit of backtracking in the game, which is always annoying, especially when they're kind of feeding you the same puzzles again, just slightly harder the second time around. The game's other little kind of bonus mode and little kind of thrown in addition is time dilation mode, and there are also kind of a very similar mode used for operating sync nodes. And basically what this does is you'll come across a dead end, you'll see a big chasm that you need to cross, and there'll be a little sync node there. You walk up to it, and it'll pop up this little kind of timing-based mini-game where you'll have to kind of guide this arrow through a maze to hit these kind of sync points. And once you've completed the puzzle, then you'll be kind of in control of that area, and Nevin will use his shaping abilities to shape himself a bridge to get across. Or in the case of time dilation, it actually operates as kind of a special attack. You can kind of trigger at any time. So say you're surrounded by 5 enemies, you can trigger it, and then you have to work these arrows around this map in a very timing-based fashion and touch these 5 icons, one for each enemy, and kind of link them all together. And then once you do it right, it'll cut to this kind of still frame time stop move of Nevin really just jacking these fools up, sticking them with swords, or kind of letting off these really large special attacks. That's a pretty cool additional feature, and it's just one more level to the combat that's really nicely done. All in all, Alter Echo is a good game. It's definitely worth checking out. Fans of Devil May Cry will get something out of it. Fans of the kind of sci-fi action adventure stuff will get something out of it. It's got a good look to it. The combat really makes up for a lot of the deficiencies. And even if though the game is kind of short, you might want to go through it a second time just to kind of earn the rest of the moves that maybe you didn't buy the first time around. If you want to check out really what the combo system has to offer. There's a lot of different moves and a lot of different ways to actually fight in the game. So definitely worth a rental, and some fans of the game will probably want to pick it up after that. It's cool.